Okay, wait, tell us about James.
James.
Let's tell. Yes. Okay. How and when did he come into your life? I want to hear
Uh,
all about it.
yes.
All about James.
Yeah. Carl and I had always said to each other, if something should happen one day, please go find love again. I don't want you to be alone. Um, and he, of course, joked and said, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to go find some 20-year-old hottie." I'm all, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Haha.
Okay. Um, yeah. So James and I went to high school together. We knew each other in high school, but we weren't like friends, but we knew each other. And then we're friends on Facebook,
Okay.
I don't know, for the last 10 years or whatever. And then during COVID and the classmates Zoom,
Yeah.
he popped in once or twice.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. And he's a pediatric cardiology nurse. And so he was traveling between San Diego and San Francisco during COVID,
Mm.
3 days shift and then 3 day shift and back and forth.
Oh wow.
So he was rarely able to be on the calls because of work. But there was um, there was one day where backtrack a little bit. So one of the Tracy Times Thursdays when I'm at my mom's. It was a year after Carl had passed, and some things were going on at the house that I was having to have fixed, and it was major money, and I was sharing with her, and it's so hard to know what to do, and am I getting
Mm-hmm.
ripped off or not? And I'm like crying, and she's like crying, and then all of a sudden my mom smacks her hand on the table. She goes, "So I think it's time you start dating." And I went, hmm, "You first, mom," is I think what I said back to her. And I'm like, I said, "Mom, it's not even on my radar."
Yeah.
Uh, and I said, "Plus, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like, vaccines weren't even out yet, right?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I'm not talking about some big love affair. You could have lunch." I said, "I'm not even having lunch with my girlfriends, Mom. We're like sitting 6 feet apart from each other with masks
Right.
on. But like the dating? No, no." So that was like April of 2021.
Okay.
And then in June, then James sends me a message on Facebook. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to be up working in San Francisco next week. We should get together and have coffee or dinner or something." I said, "Great. That would be fun. What day can you do it?" And well, Tuesday is the best day. Well, I'm on jury duty. Great. So I said, I can't do coffee because I don't know whether I'll be at the courthouse or whatever, but I'll be done by 5. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know where to go to dinner though. So how about if I cook and you just come over? And he goes, "Oh, I've seen your cooking. I'm in."
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so he walked in the door and it was like
Oh
I had
wow.
seen him, last week, and I hadn't
Oh
seen
my
him
God.
in 40 years.
What?
So yeah, it was crazy. But I think both of us,
Mhm.
wasn't looking to date. I wasn't looking to date. And, we had a great time. And then the following weekend, we got together again with some other of the friends from the Zoom classroom,
Yeah.
and had a great time. And yeah, then it wasn't until he was back again in July and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm house sitting for friends, but Friday's open." I said, "Coming over. They're coming over." And then sitting there, it was kind of like, no, no, he's kind of cute. I think and then, yeah, then the rest kind of just happened. So,
Oh my gosh. Isn't that amazing how just like that reconnection?
yeah.
Years go by and then it's like, oh, there they are.
Yes. Yeah.
They've always been, like
Yeah.
it's just
Yes.
crazy.
And he's very, very different than Carl. and challenges me in a lot of different ways. So yeah,
So
it's been,
how did your kids react to this news? I mean,
yeah,
they are older,
yes,
but
yeah,
still very
yeah.
protective of mom. A lot of kids are. So
Yes.
what was that conversation like?
So yeah, I mean, it was, I kept second guessing, like, what do I say? How do I say it? Do I ever
Yeah.
say it? Oh, you know, uh, and he ended up coming and living with me because his assignment in San Diego ended. So we start dating in July. By September, he had moved into my guest room and
Okay.
living there. um, and so
So
yeah,
now, okay, now you got to tell them.
now you got to tell the kids because then the holidays are coming and oh
Oh
gee,
my God.
yeah. But no, my kids were both very supportive. Um, I know I wrote about taking my wedding ring off
Mm,
um, in August. So like about 6 weeks, 8 weeks into dating James, and I shared that with my kids, and I remember my daughter saying, that's really hard to hear and read, but I'm also so happy for you. I know Dad would want you to be happy. Yeah, and
yeah.
my son is very laid back. I think he probably was just like, you go, mom.
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Love it.
yeah. They didn't have any issue.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
helpful.
yeah. And then I know James, for Christmas, he gave me a weekend away with my daughter, just my daughter and I.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, yeah, it was great. We went for massages and it was lovely. Um, but I remember at some point sitting, having a cocktail with her. She's, do you think you're going to marry him, Mom? And I was like, pump the brakes, hang on.
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
um, I
I
said,
don't
I don't know.
know.
I'm not, I love marriage. I had a great marriage. My parents were still married. Carl's parents were still married. Yeah, I had a lot of
Yeah.
examples. So I said, maybe.
But going into it, you're kind of like, kind of whatever happens, happens. Or you're not like, it's just different now, right? You're kind of like,
Yes,
well, I don't
yes,
need that part of that equation. If that
yeah,
happens, I believe in marriage and I want that, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And I
yeah, yeah,
can still love this person and be with this person, and then that does not need to be in the picture, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's a little more laid back, at
Mm-hmm.
least with a lot of people that I talk to. Anyway.
Yes. Well, and then there's the whole sorry, that's my computer dinging. Yeah, you know, I'm older, and so then there's the monetary side of it, like
Yeah.
as far as Social Security benefits go, don't get married until 60,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
or you don't get any.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then, if you get married after 60, then you still want to get a portion. But, Carl worked hard for that money, and I don't want it to go to nobody
I mean,
because
I know.
it doesn't even go to the kids, if not me. It goes to nobody. So I'm like, well, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. But
There's,
that wouldn't make the reason why I would marry or not marry though. But I mean,
but it is a thought and it is out there and it
yes,
is something to consider. And,
yes, yeah,
there might be some guilt involved in that too. Like, oh, we should be doing this because I don't know, there's
I know,
all
right?
these other parts to that equation where, but you
Yeah,
don't have to anyway.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
It's exciting too.